If you're running a solar, roofing, or HVAC company today and you're about $500,000 to $5 million a year, things feel really heavy, this is the right video for you. I'm going to walk you through real questions that I get from contractors and how I'd solve decisions if it were my company. So it's not theory, it's not motivation, it's not generic advice. We're diving hardcore into some tactics from real contractors just like you. If you got a question for me, go to billiondollarcontractor.com, submit your question, and I'll try and answer it here on the show. If it's my first time meeting you, my name is Steve Huber. I own Billion Dollar Contractor. I've been in the home services business for over 15 years. My teams have sold over $2 billion, that's with a B, worth of home service projects, solar, roofing, HVAC, fences, painting, windows, doors, and a whole bunch more. And today I work with contractors all over the country, helping them build better businesses, learn all the mistakes that I had to go through doing the things I did so that you don't have to do the same thing. So I want to start with Mike. He is in the roofing business from the Midwest. Revenue is about $1.2 million. And Mike says we're profitable, but cash always feels tight. Everyone keeps telling me to hire an ops manager so I can get out of the weeds. Is that the right move or am I missing something? Mike, I would not hire an ops manager if cash is tight and you're at 1.2 million in revenue. For those of you that are not in the roofing business, that's probably a job a week. We don't need an operations manager to manage a job a week. We're way too light at that point. So if you're feeling overwhelmed and you're busy, don't take on that kind of salary today. Instead, what I'd love to see you do is get some things off your plate that are lighter, less impactful. They're cheaper and easier to get off your plate, or they can be free in some instances. For example, hire a salesperson. If you're doing all the sales yourself, get a commission-only salesperson that will go out and find you work. They'll deal with any leads you have coming in. They'll literally sell jobs. You got to pay them a commission, but you factor that into your pricing, and all of a sudden, sales we can get off of our plate. You're probably doing a lot of $5 tasks that we can hire a virtual assistant to do pretty dang easy. And while you're doing that, you start defining what an ops manager really does. What do they do? What are the things that we need them to take care of? What can we pay for them? And then when the time is right, you'll know what you need to hire and what you need to pay for it based on the time that you spent putting the role together. We call it blind delegation. That's hiring somebody to do stuff because we're busy, but we never actually define what it is. It's a great way to screw your company up downriver. It's a terrible thing. Don't blind delegate. Get some of the easier things off your plate. And again, I'd probably start with sales because it's high impact, low cost. So you get one of those guys doing your sales for you. All right, Mike, thank you so much for the question, bud. All right, Jason is in the solar business from Arizona, doing about $3.5 million a year, 14 salespeople, doing $3.5 million in revenue. Our install timelines are slipping. Reps are frustrated. I'm thinking about bringing on a full-time install manager, even though margins are already tight. Would you do that in my position? All right, Jason. You got 14 people doing $3.5 million in revenue. That's not enough revenue for 14 salespeople. Now, you said mostly salespeople. I don't know how many salespeople you have, but that's not right. I would love to see each one of your people doing about $2 million at least in sales per year. And so the fact you're only at 3.5 is a big problem. So they're probably not pissed off because install timelines are taking longer than they should. They're probably pissed off because they're broke, because they're not making money, because they're not making enough sales. So rethink how you're operating that sales team. For 14 salespeople, let's say you got 10. I'd love to see it 15 to 20 million bucks, not 3.5. So your balance is way off track here. I would way rather work with less people making more money than a ton of people making no money. It's a better life to live. Trust me. So let's figure out how to make more sales for the salespeople that we have, or cut down a little bit. But I'd love to see you make more deals. Okay. So we got to get better at the sales side. You'll have happier people if they're selling more jobs. Our install timelines are slipping and reps are frustrated. If you are installing all the work yourself, then there's no reason you should be having these issues at $3.5 million bucks. Figure out where the issue's at. Do not bring on a full-time install manager unless you understand what the problem is and what needs to happen to fix it. One of the worst things you can do is you try and hire people because you have problems, but you don't understand the problem to begin with. And so you put them in this lose position. You don't understand what good looks like. You don't understand what they need to be doing. You don't understand how they win. And you end up getting screwed at the end of the day because they're really hard to manage. So I'd say for now, you got 14 salespeople. Let's try and find out maybe how to get a little bit more efficient at that. Get your hand in operations, man. Figure out what is going wrong, work to fix it, and then bring an install manager in once you've got some stability to it. You can absolutely go find someone to fix this problem for you, but they're going to cost a lot more money than your company can justify right now at $3.5 million in revenue. Those people don't want to work for that small of a company. I hate to tell you. So you're going to have to get your hands dirty, figure out what the issue is, and make it happen. What I like to do, map out every step of the process, literally start from the day the contract's signed to the day it gets PTO and turned on, find out where the big hole is at, and then join a think group talking through it. We talk about this kind of stuff all the time in the growth plan, which is our group that we get together with business owners just like you to say, hey, how are people handling this particular issue? But without knowing those real details for you, that's where I would begin. But don't hire an install manager if you don't know what an install manager does or where the challenges are at. You're going to put them in a place to lose, and you're going to get screwed at the end of the day. All right, Tom, HVAC. I love HVAC businesses. $900,000 in revenue for an HVAC business. 5 techs. Same kind of deal we were just talking through with Jason. 5 techs, HVAC. Wife handles the office. He says, I feel capped by my own time. Everyone says I need systems before I grow, but I also need more revenue. What would you prioritize first if this was your company? All right, Tom, let me walk you through how contracting businesses grow. The very first stage that all contracting businesses begin in is chaos. Technically, you have starting the business, and then you go to chaos. But you already started. Chaos is the first stage that everybody sits in. The goal is to get from chaos to stable. If you do not feel stable today, which you got 5 people running around, you hopefully feel somewhat stable. Just try and get to stable. That's where we know that we can pay our bills. We know how we get customers. We know how to facilitate things. The next stage is to get to control. This is where we understand the business. We understand what our reps or what our techs need to be making. We understand what our margins should be. We understand how we get customers. We understand how we build things. We understand how work works and facilitates, how we pay bills. Like we have good control over the company. Doesn't mean you do everything, but we have good control through systems at that point, and then you scale. And I got bad news. You said, I feel capped by my own time. You're probably doing things that need to be delegated out. This is going to be where that control into systems comes in. When I say you need to have control on your business, that doesn't, again, mean that you do everything yourself. It means that you have systems in place that help you control it. This comes back to who, not how. Who can do these tasks, not how do I do all these tasks, okay? So figure out what are those things that you're doing today that you could ask other people to do. You understand how it works, but you can delegate it out to other folks, and that will help you out tremendously. I don't think I see any real salespeople on here. Maybe your tech sell, that could be an easy one to look at. This is one of those problems that's hard to solve by yourself because you're a part of the problem, and it's hard to see some of those things in our own life. So I'd write down all the things that you do, find out what are the things that are essential to you doing, and the things that are not essential to you doing. You have to figure out a way to get those off your plate. It is an area that you have to go through, getting control in your business. Once you get control, then you can scale the company, which means we get to hire more and more people. And then we ultimately get to a place where we have to worry about stepping back. We can exit, we can sell it, we can sit on the board and somebody else runs it all the time. But you're not there yet. You get $900,000 of revenue, you got to get control, and you are going to be busy right now. Figure out what we can get off your plate in the meantime. All right. Chris M. in roofing knew a really good roofer named His name is Chris M. I won't give you his last name. Super good dude out in California. This Chris M's in Florida, $2.5 million, 9 people total. We're thinking about adding commercial roofing to diversify. Residential solid but stressful. Is diversification smart at this stage, or is it a distraction? All right, you're doing $2.5 million in revenue on a residential roofing company in Florida. You're not even remotely close to the potential of your market. Like, you're nowhere close. I ran a roofing company we did Palm Beach, Tampa. I've done it in Orlando. You could do 20, 30, 40 million dollars a year fairly, not easily, but those markets can support that all day long. At $2.5 million, you're not even close to capping the residential market that you have today. A lot of people think commercial work, whether it's solar or HVAC or roofing, is amazing and awesome, but they're completely different businesses. Totally. The way you sell them, how long they take, the RFPs that you have to do, financing, the products. It is essentially a completely different business. I would rather see you get into solar and HVAC than get into commercial roofing. It's that different of a business. You're not even dealing with the same customers. Chris, you're not there yet, dude. You're $2.5 million. Have that conversation when you get to $15 million. Then start thinking about it. Yeah, we've got this thing humming. Should we add some more products in? Should we diversify? Until you're at 15 mil, just put your head down, man. Keep doing more of what you're doing. Keep cranking away. And I certainly wouldn't worry about it today. Just keep doing what you're doing, man. Okay? Don't diversify yet. You're way too early. All right. Aaron, California solar business. My backyard. All right. $700,000 for a California solar business. 4 sales reps. Guys, I'm still closing deals myself because I don't trust the numbers I'm seeing from my reps. Is that just part of early growth or red flags? All right. Aaron, at some point, like now, because you decided to be a business owner, you're going to have to understand that means delegating things out to other people and trusting that they do good work, but also having systems to verify that they've done the things that they're supposed to be doing. Trust, but verify. And so if you have insecurities, I'm having red flags, I'm closing deals, I don't trust the numbers I'm seeing from my reps. Dude, this is a management system that you are lacking. And so one of the things I love to do with all of our sales teams that we work with is scoreboards and scorecards. Literally just map out what are the things, they're called KPIs, key performance indicators. What are the key performance indicators that your reps need to be doing? I'm assuming you're not installing the work based on your numbers. So you guys are probably selling it, and the revenue that I see is really like commissions that come in. But if you want to grow, you're just going to have to help these people be successful. So if you're doing door knocking, for example, how many doors do they need to knock? How many conversations do they need to have? How many proposals do they need to have? Every single day. You have to manage those people. And so one of the things that you're going to have to transition from is becoming a sales person to a sales manager and a business owner. And eventually you'll become the manager of managers, which is a director. And then you'll become the managers of managers, which would be a VP. You're going to have to get these skill sets in place as you go. So here's what I'd recommend. Just start very simply. First off, why don't you trust the numbers that your team is giving you? Are they untrustworthy people you're hiring? Or do you have a lack and gap in your visibility into what they're doing that's creating anxiety for you? I don't trust. That's a hard phrase. I'd really advise you to take a minute to wrap your arms around that one. If your team's lying to you, find new people, man. You're in California, you're in solar. You got a lot of options there for people that know solar really well. If it's merely a fact that you don't understand the numbers well enough and therefore you have anxiety about what's happening, that's a you issue. And you got to wrap that up and fix it. Again, get those scorecards in place, understand what should be happening, and then you can manage if it actually is happening and understand what's going on. Okay? Cool. Aaron, thanks, man, for writing over. Just a quick reminder, if you guys have a question, go to billiondollarcontractor.com. I'll put a link down below for you. You can submit a question. There are no stupid questions. There's just the ones that we ask and don't ask. Again, I've been through it all. I've been from zero. I've been to 300 million a year. It just depends on where you're at, but I've seen it all. So there's no dumb questions. Okay. All right. Dan P in Ohio. My mom's in Ohio. In the HVAC business, 1.8 million a year, 7 techs, 1 dispatcher. Our KPIs look good month to month. Awesome. But I still feel like we're one bad week away from problems. Am I overthinking this, or is that feeling telling me something? All right. You have two kind of conflicting things going on. One is I feel really good about my KPIs. The other one is I'm super insecure about what's going on, and I feel like we're one bad week away. Those two things really shouldn't exist together. So I would challenge where your KPIs are at, and if they're actually good or bad. One of the things I see all the time is businesses will have what's good to them, and they're like, we're doing great. In reality, they went from like horrendous to horrible. It's still not good, but they think it's amazing because it's been horrendous for so long. They're like, wow, look at that. I'm doing so much better than I was. That may be happening with you. On the flip side, you may be doing amazing and you're trying to do even more amazinger. That also happens. It's hard when you don't have context of what KPIs should be and where they're at in the market. You're trying to play a game, but you're not keeping score, and you don't know what the other team's at. And so it's one of the reasons that I created some of the programs in my company was to help business owners have some perspective of what everybody else was doing so they could actually see if they're doing good or bad or indifferent. We call it knowing what good looks like. And right now, you said that your KPIs are good month to month, but I still feel like we're one bad week away from problems. So let's say that your KPIs truly are good, but you're one bad week away from problems, I would challenge you on, again, why you feel that way. Do you have good goals? Do you have a good roadmap? Are there any roadmaps in place, or are you winging it week to week? Insecurity, a lot of times, is what you're describing. I feel like I'm one bad week away. And what I find very often is that we feel those things because we don't have a good plan of what is supposed to be happening. So imagine you're trying to drive you're in Ohio. You're trying to drive from Ohio to Florida. And you're like, I know where I want to get. I want to go to Disney World. And so you hop in your car in Ohio. You don't have a map. You just start driving around looking for signs that you're in Florida. That would be highly inefficient. And you'd have a lot of anxiety about, we've been driving around forever. I don't know where we're at. It seems like it's getting sunnier. It's not as the rolling hills went away. Now we got some mountains. I think we're going in the right direction. You may be going in the totally wrong direction. But you don't know because you don't have a map. And so what you have to do is map these things out. We call it a business roadmap. And literally it's the 12 months, all the things that are needed to get from point A to point B, so that we know if we're on pace or not on pace. And magically, like, anxiety goes totally down. Because you're like, hey, we got 20 hours to get there. We're 4 in. I shouldn't be in Orlando yet. If I think I'm in Orlando, I've done something wrong. You have to have some kind of roadmap like that. I think if you map that out, you're going to see your anxiety go way down. If you understand where your KPIs are at and if they're actually good or horrendous, your anxiety goes down because we're doing great work. We're on pace. Just keep doing what we're doing. We're going to get where we want to go A-okay. So map it out. Get your KPIs in order. Make sure that everything's good. So hope that helps, Dan. Hey, Dan, thanks for the question, bud. Love the HVAC business. Love Ohio. All right, we got Luis in roofing in Colorado. $450 or $450,000, $450. My God. Pretty small roofing company, $450K in revenue, owner, but he's subbing it out. So this may not be like true revenue. This could be like commissions that are coming in, and he's subbing out the work. All right. I want to hire my first salesperson so I can stop selling. Everyone says this is a bottleneck. Is it too early to make that hire? Luis, I assume today you are the salesperson that's out doing the things that need to be done to bring sales into the business. Before you hire any role in your company, I want you to define what it is that role. First off, who are you looking for based on your company? You're probably not looking for somebody that's worked in like Fortune 500 America. You're a small company. You need someone that's grassroots, somebody that's got like some tenacity to work through small companies, broken systems. Like you're like a startup, man. So who is it that you are looking for? I was just working with a roofing company this morning. Very similar question to what you have going on, and they're trying to hire like raw people to go sell roofing. Problem is the owner's out selling all the time. And so if you don't have the proper time to train somebody that's super raw at all the intricacies of roofing, you got to hire somebody that has experience. So I challenge you to really spend some time and think about who you want to hire, what it is that you expect from them and want them to do. Are they putting bids together? Are they climbing on roofs? Are they responsible for self-generating all their own deals? Are they responsible for hitting a certain close rate? What are the things that they need to do to be successful in your model? And put some time and effort into thinking about that. Finally is what. We call it the 3 W's. Who, what, and why. I'm sorry, I said what already. Why? Why would somebody even want to work with you? Why would I consider myself to be an A+ salesperson? Why would I want to come work for your company in Colorado? And if you don't know the answer, somebody else isn't going to know the answer. And I know some of you are watching this, you're like, that sounds like common sense. I can't tell you how often I talk to contractors who say, I can't find good people. And I go, awesome. I consider myself a good person. Why would I want to work for you? They don't know the answer. And again, if you don't know the answer, someone else isn't going to know the answer. So think about why somebody would want to work with you. I'll give you a couple just based on your size. You're a small company, which means that they get to work day in and day out with the owner of the company. Their ideas are valued. They're appreciated. You're probably like a family. This isn't just a job and somewhere you clock in and clock out. We want to know you. We want you to grow with our company. We're also going to probably want to grow this company in the future. So we may need future managers. And so there's a ground floor opportunity with a young and hungry roofing company that's up and coming. Your voice matters. You're a part of our group, and we want somebody that's going to be around for the long haul so that we can win together. Pretty good why, right? Come up with your own. Think about why somebody would want to work for your roofing company. Anyways, define the role. Get real clear on those things. I love hiring salespeople early because pretty low overhead, pretty high upside. And as long as you define what it is that they do, what you do and don't want, you're going to be in good shape. But again, do not hire anybody that you do not have a definitive role for and expectations. That's how you get screwed in the long run. And I get called in all the time to fix companies that have broken sales teams. I was on a call yesterday. This company had, I think it was like 10 salespeople. They're like, our sales team sucks. Literally went through all 10. And of the 10, like 8 didn't really work. They were like, stay-at-home dad. This one's retired. This one only takes 1 lead a month. This one won't drive anywhere. No wonder your sales team sucks. The problem is once you've created that culture, good people don't want to go work for you. So protect that culture up front. Get clear on who you want, why they should work with you, what you want them to do. And you're in a way better place to begin and start if you have that foundation, as opposed to just taking anybody that wants to come work with you. All right, cool. Luis, thanks so much, man. All right, solar. We got Ben H. My son's name is Ben H. Solar in Nevada, $5 million, 20-person team. We've grown fast, and now everything feels heavy. More people, more meetings, more problems. Is this just the cost of scale or a sign something is broken? Yeah, Ben, look, I'll go back to what I was saying earlier. Chaos to stability. Mission number 1, you got 20 people, you're at $5 million in revenue, probably feeling pretty stable. Like you know what's happening day to day in this business. The next one's getting to control. and then we go scale, and then we ultimately go legacy and exit and all that good stuff. Okay? Right now, you're like in this control phase. And the way that you get control on your company is you just are in it, you deal with things, and you define systems that come up. So what I want you to think about is you say, I got more meetings, more problems, and more people. Every time you define a problem, I want you to look at why the problem exists and what can you do to make sure it doesn't happen again. So we dealt with this, and most companies do this wrong. They look at things and say, I need to deal with this fire. This customer's upset. This thing's broken. Let's deal with that problem. What they really should be asking is, why did this happen to begin with? And what can I do to fix it so it never happens again? That is how you get control on your business. And so unfortunately, you just have to do it. There's not really a way to magically insert some automation in there and everything runs flawlessly. I'd love to tell you there is, but there isn't. You're in it right now, man. But here's the silver lining. Once you get control on the business, then you can start scaling it, which means you will have more people, but those people will be in a lot of the meetings. They'll start dealing with the problems. They'll start dealing with hiring. They'll start dealing with other things that are going on. And you won't have to as much. And you get removed from those things. If I was to call Amazon customer service, Jeff Bezos doesn't pick up the phone. His vice president doesn't pick up the phone. Probably his director of customer service doesn't pick up the phone. He's got layers that exist between him and me calling to complain about something. And that's what ends up happening, is you will grow over time. Now, if he just tried to hire 100,000 customer service people without any systems, it'd be a wreck. Can you imagine? So he had to get control first, define the systems, get some good foundations in place, and then start adding layers into the middle. That's how you make that happen. So you grew fast. Great job, dude. You got from chaos to stable. Awesome. That's the jump, man. You don't want to be in chaos mode forever. So you're like, whoop, we went right to stable. Super great. Now everything's feeling heavy. Totally. Because you grew super fast without a bunch of systems. We got more people, more meetings, and more problems. 100%. Totally expected. It's just, is this the cost of scaling or a sign something broken? It's the sign that you're on the right path, man. Don't worry about it. Okay? You're exactly where you should be. The theme and the word, write this on your board, stick it on your wall, is control. And I've talked about this a couple times now. It's not doing everything. It's not you controlling every job in the company. It's you understanding the positions in the company, how they work and interact with each other, why they are needed, what good looks like, so that you have control over what's happening. And then you can add people in to take some of those things off your plate. Get control, but you're in a good spot. Cool, Ben, thank you so much, my man. All right, Rob from North Carolina. He's in the HVAC business, team of 6. I'm debating between hiring another tech or spending more on marketing. Both feel necessary. How would you decide without guessing? All right, I was talking to an owner today. He's, hey, I don't know how to prioritize things in my business. How do you handle this? And perfect question today. You always want to think about your business as this funnel, right? And for those of you that have been anywhere near marketing, this will make complete sense. Funnel's super high at the top. This is your marketing. It's how leads come into your company. Then they ring into a call center or some kind of inbound team, usually. Then they go to the sales team. Then the sales team converts them, and then operations picks them up, and then operations build it, and then it turns into cash. If you're ever sitting there wondering, what should I prioritize in my business? Always start at the very top. Always. Not some of the times. Always. Because here's the thing. If you don't have enough leads and enough marketing coming in, then you're not going to have the phone ringing enough for your call center to do anything, or your receptionist, which means you're not going to have enough for your sales team to do, or your techs to do, which means you're not going to have enough for the operations team to do. Like, it all starts up top. So what you are saying, should I hire another tech or spend more money on marketing? You're saying, should I spend more money up here where the whole company wins? Or should I hire a tech who's way down here? We don't get here unless we have this working. Get your operations team working well. Get your marketing team firing on all cylinders. Now, again, common theme you're going to hear me say again. A lot of times people will say, I need more marketing. I need more leads. But they don't understand where their breakdown is in things. And I've had companies that we literally double the amount of sales without adding any more money into marketing. We just get the system to work better. And so we use what's called a sales process scorecard and a sales funnel scorecard. And literally it starts at how much money do we spend? How many leads do we get? How fast do we call them? How many opportunities do we get? How many do we sit? How many do we sell? How many and it goes through the entire pipeline of how a customer journey works through your company through the point of sale. And usually in that review, something is busted. You're like, wow, like we should be converting. I'll give you an example. This happened last week. We should be converting 50% of the calls we get into opportunities, and we're converting 10. And so the contractor is like, I need more calls. So, no, you don't. We need to get from 10 to 50. And we made some slight tweaks in their script, and we got them from 10 to 30 pretty quick. We tripled the lead count. No more phone calls needed. We just saw that there was this gaping hole in the side of the boat, and we're like, hey, let's make a couple tweaks. Here's the scripts. Here's how you do it. Triple the lead count. So really great thing to do. Start with, I wouldn't just blindly spend more money on marketing. I'd understand where my marketing's at. I'd map the process out, and assuming all things are firing on all cylinders, you don't have any huge holes anywhere in your business, I would always spend more money on marketing than I would hiring another tech. If you feel like that's you, awesome. Spend more money on marketing. If you're trying to hire another tech because you've got some gaping holes somewhere, like you said you have a team of 6, maybe 5 of them are going to quit, or 5 are pregnant, or I don't know, probably need to hire another tech. Okay? All things equal, everything's working as it should. Spend money on marketing. All right. Last one. We got Kevin D in roofing in Pennsylvania. $3 million, team of 11. Feel like I've built something valuable, but I have no idea what this business would actually be worth. Is that something I should even be thinking about right now? All right. I have a program called Built to be Bought. We literally help contractors build their businesses to be bought one day. $3 million in revenue, probably a little too light for you to really be considered getting purchased. Here's what happens, and I'll just give you the lay of the land. Smaller companies usually don't get bought by big private equity firms. You're just too small for them to be worthwhile. And it has to do with the fact that they want to bring people in that cost a lot of money. They want to bring a real CFO in, a real CEO. And at $3 million, you just can't support the kind of salary that's required to bring that person in. So they want you to be bigger than what you are today. You're probably, if you went to go sell today, you'd probably get bought by your local competition. They may buy you. You get a little bit bigger, you're going to have some bigger companies that want to buy you. You get real big, you got real big companies that want to buy you. And the amount of money that they are willing to pay goes up substantially. It's what's called a multiplier. So today you may get a 2 or a 3x multiplier on your EBITDA. If you get a little bit bigger, that 2 or 3x, maybe 4 or 6. You get even bigger, it could be 8 to 10. And so not only are you building a bigger business, but the multiplier on that business is going up substantially. So what I would say, Kevin, you're in roofing, you got $3 million in revenue. Dude, start building your business like you're gonna sell it. Start wrapping your head around that. You got to deal with accounting things. So you go from cash financing to accrued financing. Start really wrapping your head around what it's going to look like to get this business bought one day. What are the things that you can do today to tweak those numbers? And it could be, again, if you're a $3 million company today, let's just say that number's EBITDA, which it isn't. If you were to sell today at a $3 million EBITDA, you may get a $9 million offer. If you can double that to $6 million, you may get a Instead of a 2X or a 3X, you may get like a 5X. So you may go from a $6 million offer to a $30 million offer. That's the kind of math that takes place. Let's start thinking about those things right now. I would not sell today. I'd start working with somebody that can help me wrap my head around what it looks like if you want to sell. And again, it's something we could do to help you out. Kevin, thank you so much for the question. I super appreciate it. All right, before we get on out of here, if this is valuable to you and you have a question, again, go to billiondollarcontractor.com. You can submit a question right there. I'd love to help you out and help you answer it. While you're there, I got a free diagnostic for you. So you can ask, I think there's 10 questions that'll ask you about your business. It will then help you understand where you're at, where the holes are at today. If we can help you, we'd love to help you. If we can't, we'd love to help point you somewhere else and say, hey, this is the right fit for you over here. Totally free, totally for you, totally for your benefit. So check it out, billiondollarcontractor.com. With that, my name's Steve Huber, and I'll catch y'all next time.